Beyond the Barrier.
Rockingham 905.
The podcast where we explore the wild world of public safety, fire, law enforcement, EMS, and security with your hosts, Jake, Corwin, and Joe. We're here to break down the barriers and go beyond the usual topics, from heroic tales of first responders to the latest tech in the security industry. We've got you covered, so buckle up and get ready for a ride that's sure to be as exciting as a high-speed chase, but with less sirens. Let's jump beyond the barrier and see what's on the other side.
Welcome back to Beyond the Barrier, everyone. If you'd like to contact us, you can reach us at beyondthebarrier1@gmail.com or on our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you'd like to consider supporting us, you can check us out at patreon.com/beyondthebarrier. And if you have some artwork you'd like to submit to us, we might use it in an episode for our teaser art. Who knows? You can submit that to us at beyondthebarrier1@gmail.com. And for this episode, it's a little different. We're recording with some friends of ours. We have Clark with us and Cooper. So much for remaining anonymous, huh? So we have them with us this episode, and we just have a bunch of questions that we are going to ask each other and answer to our best ability, and it should be a pretty fun and exciting show. We have some pretty off the wall and crazy cord and ask questions, and all of us are going to get the chance to answer them and just kind of discuss some of the things we've done in our jobs and previous careers, our current careers, and yeah, should be fun. So Corwin, have at it.
Cool. First clarification, it is X, formerly known as Twitter, so get your shit straight.
Shut the fuck up. Who cares?
Elon Musk cares, and
Like
if we ever
Prince.
get sponsored, we need to have that.
Nobody's sponsoring you, especially after this episode. Nobody's sponsoring
No,
you.
no one's gonna touch us with a 10-foot pole.
Hey, like I said, I had that offer.
I'm telling you, you should follow.
Where
up
did
on
you post the questions?
They're
They're in welcome chat.
Where's
Why would you
welcome
put 'em in
chat? Oh, there it is.
chat? And why is Joe still playing poker?
Is he
I backed
winning?
out.
What's wrong with that, man? You guys all just left me, and I'm just here fucking playing by myself.
I'm sorry, I thought we were doing a thing.
Okay. So the first question is, how did the COVID-19 pandemic affect you and your job?
Driving to work was really nice.
That's not the
Oh, it was
question, though.
great.
I'm
That is
reading the question. He read
question
that
one.
verbatim.
How did the COVID-19 pandemic affect your job?
He
read
said
that
you
very
and your job.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
it's an extension of you and your job. Your job is an extension of you, Dippy.
Okay, well, whatever. We'll just go with making up questions as we go.
Like, it's interpret. It's how you interpret the question.
He added like 2 words. Oh my!
No,
God.
it's fine. We'll just make up questions.
Go ahead,
There's a
Clark.
bunch
You
of
could.
made-up questions.
Oh, I was like, driving to work was really nice. Other than that, everybody got really stupid.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
Like, everybody's IQ dropped at least 10 points.
So me and Clark actually work at the same place. Hams didn't explain that. Currently, we work together, and yeah.
I'm Hams, by the way. Jake is Hams.
Sorry.
Just had to throw that clarification in there.
Thank you for that clarification. And Coop and Clark, you guys both do security for a manufacturing entity within the United States. We'll just leave it at that. Right?
Yeah, sure.
In Cuba. They're lying.
Yeah, there's I don't know. You probably should have started with introductions. There's going to be a lot of
That's what I would
editing,
do.
so-
There's some questions.
No, we just raw dogging it.
All right, that's fair.
I
have
guess I
zero
should say
experience
that
in any of these fields, just so you know. I'm here because I offered to eat his ass if I could get on his podcast.
I was gonna watch.
man, editing is going to be one hell of a thing.
Yes.
I will say this. So I used to work with Coop and Clark at that manufacturing facility, and I worked there right at the start of COVID. And to kind of like go into the day-to-day aspects of how it affected us, everybody got crazy with the fucking temperature things. And the symptoms and all that. We had to take temperatures of everybody coming into the plants, any visitors or anything like that. It's kind of like just the same as any other.
We didn't get visitors.
We had to take their temperatures before they could go get their temperatures taken at work at warm up.
And then on top of that, like we shut down. We didn't allow outside visitors. And
Yeah, for like the first month.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. It was basically the same as any other business that was operating during the beginning of COVID. Everybody got fucking their temperature checked and asked stupid questions that we later figured out meant nothing, and they're completely useless. And so is taking
Everybody lies to you regardless.
Right.
It's
And then
almost
they're
like
complaining
theme
of a
public
temperature and
safety.
shit later on.
Yeah.
And then we're shutting down an entire plant because,
one person says
One
they
dude.
have a temperature of 99.7.
I will say this on how COVID affected me. I had a sinus infection during like the first 2 months of COVID, and they asked me to take all of my PTO for 2 weeks until I could get a negative test back, and it was at like the height to where I couldn't get a doctor's appointment. So it took the full 2 weeks for me to get a negative test result before I could come back. It was dumb.
Yeah, it was. I remember that. I was pissed because I was alone for those 2 weeks.
I would rather have had COVID.
Yeah.
Well, at least during working at the hospital, they paid, like, we didn't have to use our PTO. They paid us to be on the COVID.
Well, I could have filed.
I don't
for the
remember what it was called.
unemployment, but
Well, no, it wasn't even that. Like, we got our
Oh.
normal wage. Like, they gave us PTO they gave us company time to use.
it must be nice.
Right?
Well, I think for us, the only reason was because we were getting all that money from the fucking feds and the state for COVID relief. And then
Because
they
your
also,
customers gave you COVID.
yeah, and that's the other thing is we worked in healthcare. So I don't know. I guess they felt like they owed it to us to give us that 14 days off for free and pay us for it.
Just not all the nurses that were doing quadruple time.
Well, no, they got it. Like if you had COVID symptoms in that time period, you were forced to go off work until you could come back with a negative test, but it was paid.
So if
And
you
didn't
remember
have to
right,
use your PTO.
if you remember right, when COVID first happened, it was almost impossible to get tested. So they were giving us time off if we had symptoms, and we wouldn't get tested till like a week later, and they'd still pay us for that, even though we hadn't been tested yet.
Oh, yeah. No, like
That's
when Clark
Nice.
had a sinus infection, like he even told me, he's like, hey, I got antibiotics. I have a sinus infection. And they were just like, nope, unless we see that COVID test. It was absolutely stupid.
But I think I
ridiculous.
was like when COVID actually first hit the first initial shutdown. I think I'm the only one that actually worked at a hospital at that time, and it was fucking terrible. It was the worst experience of my life because people would come in and be like, "Hey, I got COVID." No, you don't. Oh, I just need to get a test. Let me get tested. Just crazy ass people coming in for a test because somebody fucking looked at them wrong and they thought they had COVID.
I also remember one time we had this fucking crazy guy show up at the children's hospital ranting that COVID wasn't real and shit, and it was insane. Like we had to go hands on with him and fucking ended up arresting him. And he in the children's hospital, and I don't even know how he got access in there, but it was fucking ridiculous.
Because people can just walk into that place, apparently.
I do
I'm
also
assuming-
remember though that when they were doing the test when it first came out or whatever, and it was kind of the government was still controlling the testing. I had to go get tested, and I had to do it at one of the sites that was ran by the National Guard. And that fucking bitch nurse from the fucking National Guard, I swear to God, took a chunk of my fucking brain with her because she shoved that motherfucker.
For sure.
There was no nice about. I cried.
You fucking pussy.
She said she was going to count to 3, and she went on 2 and jammed it into my nose hole when I got tested. And
Was it
I
a
get
nurse
that
or was it
it was
a medic?
it
Look,
was a nurse for me.
the worst part about it is she did it until I'm like, and then she's done. I'm like, thank God. And she's like, no, we have to do both nostrils.
Okay,
I'm
I
like,
didn't have
you
to do both
fucking
nostrils.
bitch.
Yeah, they did that to me too, both nostrils. Because I did this, like, she shoved that motherfucker so far up my nose. I did it in one of those lines that you drive through. And, like, she'd already got me crying from the one nostril. And I'm, like, putting my car in drive. She's like, wait. We got to do your other one. I was like, are you kidding me?
My issue is when people stick things in my nose, I sneeze. So like she rammed it in my nose and started wiggling it around, and I was like, "I'm gonna sneeze in your face," and she's like, "You better not," and I'm like, "I'm gonna."
All right. So what? I think we got enough time on the COVID. So what's Joe? Next
Well, I'm not
question.
even gonna be able to talk about how.
No,
COVID
you
affected
suck.
my life. Fuck you.
Dude,
How
I made
COVID
it all the way.
affected your IT job.
Right.
This is actually before I was in IT. I was still doing like 60, 70 hours doing compliance training, but they sent me home. And I had to do all
Cool
that
story.
from home.
And you could remote in.
Cool
You
story.
work from home and still get
You
paid.
gotta, they sent you home, huh?
You weren't on the front lines like the rest of
lines.
us.
Trying to get empathy
You
from
weren't
the
there.
man.
No, I wasn't.
This will blow your mind. I made it all the way through all that COVID bullshit and never took a single test. Didn't have a single thing rammed up my nose.
Oh, dude, once I figured out that they paid us for PTO or paid us for free, like didn't take our PT, I was taking them motherfuckers every week. Like, come on, let me have COVID.
I only did one test, and it was not the worst thing in the world, but it was not great feeling.
Oh no, everybody around me is like pretty much a claymore went off and everybody just went down. It was fucking hilarious because everybody's talking about it and bitching about it. I'm just sitting here like, yeah, don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I ended up getting COVID though. Like, God, what was that last month, Clark?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh yeah, I remember when you had COVID.
Yeah, it fucked me up pretty good. But like,
I had COVID. What, last month? 2 months ago?
yeah, you're
That
welcome.
sucked. Thanks, Goat.
Welcome.
I
I've had
have-
it spread the love.
3 times. 3 fucking times.
Nah, I dodged the bullet all the way up until last month, and I was at a nursing home is why I got it, and then I brought it to work and gave it to the entire department. So,
Nice. Sharing the love.
and I did not feel bad about it whatsoever.
You don't feel bad about anything, Coop.
I do.
All right. So the next question is, what is the most memorable call you've ever gone on?
As a side note, I haven't gotten COVID yet.
Ah, pussy.
Yet.
Memorable call, Clark.
Yeah, buddy.
What's the most memorable call you've been on?
Okay, so hear me out. I was gonna tell you to say the Emily Rose story, but like you have to save that for a Halloween special.
Oh,
You have
Ooh,
to. So spooky. I don't know. Okay, so I didn't go on the call, but probably the most memorable phone call I've ever gotten was when I was trying to bring food to Hams and Coop at work. And I got a call, or I called them and was like, "Hey, what do you want?" And they're like, "Hold on, there's a guy driving a truck through the campus." And hold on, I think they're shooting.
I used Joe as a mobile shield.
Yes, not your brother Joe, different Joe.
No,
Yeah,
different Joe.
cool
Yeah,
Joe.
different Joe. That was fucking crazy.
That was
High
probably
speed
a neat
chase in the
phone
middle
call I
of
got.
campus.
I
I wasn't
forgot all
there. I
about
wasn't
that.
involved
Honestly,
in any way. It was a neat phone call
Coop
to
and I
receive
were.
while I was shopping.
Yeah, I didn't want to be there that night, but whatever.
I did not either. So
Name
what it
one
ended
night
up
you wanted to be
being
there.
is, I believe it was State Patrol got a pursuit on 163 here in Iowa, and they had a pursuit go past the place we were working at, and we were all standing outside smoking. We all smoked at that time.
Man, those sirens are getting closer.
Man, I can see them. Holy shit, they're right over there. But so the good dude ended up coming right past us, and like his car was tore up. They obviously tried to pit him a few times or something.
Yeah.
But his car started fucking it started backfiring and it sounded like gunshots. So We all just, duck and run for cover. I remember I stood behind before I used Joe as a shield. I stood behind the sign that said where we worked at, the campus we were at, which is like a fucking fence post.
Yeah.
I'm 260 pounds. This fence post wasn't covering much.
Like, you ever see those cartoons where it's like that big old fat guy trying to hide behind a tree or something, and you see the belly
That's
sticking out?
exactly what it was. Yeah.
Afterwards, everybody snapped their senses. Probably put the place on lockdown.
No, actually, we had it on lockdown.
We put it on
before
lockdown
the
beforehand.
pursuit got to us, but like,
okay.
Yeah.
Probably.
I believe we saw them exit onto, like, how that exit by Dr. Pepper. We saw the lights coming from that area, and I think that's around the time we started lockdown.
yeah, it was when we heard the sirens getting closer, and then we could actually start seeing like the lights on the horizon, or at least over the buildings and stuff. And that's when we called the lockdown in.
We had that sewer pipe that fell out of the back of that guy's truck in like the middle of the courtyard for like
just embedded. I thought we should have memorialized it. But
right? The survivors.
I don't remember that.
Died. Yeah, it was a massive pipe or something.
Yeah, is that or a transmission? I can't remember what it was.
Oh, I thought it was like a sewage pipe or something.
Yeah, it was
a large piece of metal
at over there by the buses and shit.
Yeah, they drug it over there. And when I was talking to the cop, because I showed up after it was all said and done, he was like, "Yeah, I think I'm going to charge him with attempted murder for that falling out of the back of his truck." And I was like, "I don't know if that's how it works."
Right. Oh, and then they they pitted him on our property. Right?
Oh yeah, I know what
Right
you're
next
talking
to the
about
gas
now.
main.
Yeah,
right beside the gas main, and then it
in the
turned into a
center
little
of campus.
standoff, and it was like, holy shit!
And he took off running on foot to the was it a bean field or a cornfield?
Yeah, and we were kind of lucky he took off property instead of coming back on, because that could have just escalated so fast.
Yeah, I mean, we had secured doors, but like we also had really bad customers who were opening up the doors.
Personnel on site.
Personnel on site who were opening up the doors to look out like idiots and see what was going on. Basically, the first ones to die in a scary movie.
Yes. Yes.
What's going on out here? Oh my god!
Yeah.
Like, use your window if you're gonna.
I remember running down there to that and just seeing that whole scene and being like, "Holy fuck, this is insane."
The phone call I got, like a week later from the parent that said his kid almost died and he demanded we do something about it.
Like, we could travel back in time and shoot the guy if you wanted to. Like, I just don't know what they expect.
We haven't finished the flux capacitor yet, though, sir. So we need a little more time.
Watched the camera footage. Turns out his kid ran inside, terrified like everybody else, like 20 minutes before the whole thing had happened, and never came outside. He hid inside the whole time. He was just telling people how cool he was and that he stood in front of the truck to stop it.
Yeah.
He wasn't stopping shit.
No.
Well, he's stopping his life.
Well, good point. I always call that natural selection when people do shit like that.
Yeah.
Your time has
telling
come.
Clark. Well, I was just telling Clark the other day that I fucking almost regret like my 10 years in EMS because we prevented so much natural selection. And just looking around at people nowadays, I was like, we could have stopped this by just letting people fucking die. Self-solving problem. Hey, that got dark. I'm sorry.
Real quick, I got to tell my most memorable one because it's kind of comical. But so I was right out of EMT school. I'd only been certified for like a month. I didn't know shit. I was working a night shift at Lucas County Hospital, and we get this call to Hy-Vee warehouse for a person having a heart attack at like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh, this is some bullshit call. It's just somebody trying to leave work. Anyhow, we get there. We take in nothing with us except for a stethoscope, a blood pressure cuff, and a clipboard. Big fucking mistake. We go in there. The guy is sweating profusely, pale white, and he's panting. We're like, oh God, we fucked up. We take the guy to the hospital. We make it all the way there, no problems. Get him into the trauma room, and the guy fucking codes. We had him hooked up to a 12 lead already. Actually got to see it happen on the 12 lead monitor, which was kind of cool. But hook him up to the get the patches on him real quick for the defibrillator. And I have a paramedic with me, so we do manual defibrillation. So I charge it first time, and it does, I shock him and it does nothing. And the second time, I did this the first time too, but my partner didn't say anything. But the second time, I go to charge it, and I go, okay, 1, I'm clear. 2, you're clear. My partner looks over me and says, push the fucking button before you kill him.
I mean, is he gonna get much deader? Chill out, man.
And he just fucking freaked out on me. And so I pushed the button. The guy, fucking shocked him. And he woke up after that, which was kind of cool too. But yeah, it's just my partner freaked the fuck out on me because that's how they taught us in school, 1, I'm clear. 2, you're clear. 3, everybody's clear. Fucking shocking. Okay,
I feel like you should have been extremely petty and been like, fine, you push the button.
Right? Just fucking walk to the other side of the ambulance. All yours now, or reach across the patient. You want to be a dickhead about it. Was he in VTAC? Like symptomatic VTAC?
Yeah, he was in VTAC.
Ah, so you remembered to sync before you fired it, or did you just get lucky?
I'm going to say just got lucky.
With that answer?
Got lucky. Kind of lucky.
All right.
Yeah, just got lucky. Because, we were working on the guy.
Save this man.
And I'm no expert on EKGs or anything that's outside of my scope. But what I remember is Steve, or the guy I was working with. There's 2 paramedics with me.
Does his name happen to be Steve?
Steve, yeah, Steve and Chris. Chris was the one that fucking yelled at me. And Steve goes, oh yeah, he's got fire hats in there. I'm like,
yep. Systematic VTAC.
Oh, what the fuck is that? And then
Can I push button or no?
yeah, that's pretty much. I'm like, oh, you want me to push it or not? But I remember right before it happened, he turned like, remember Violet off of the fucking Charlie and Chocolate Factory? This guy turned that color purple, puked everywhere, and then just fucking slumped over on the bed. And I'm like, oh shit, we killed him. We killed him. And then
that's supposed to happen, turns out.
Yeah.
And then we did it again, and he woke up and he's like, oh, well, fuck, I forgot the most important part. Right when it happened, my partner Chris, he does a pericordial thump to try to. I mean, I never even heard of it prior to this, and I'm like, dude, you just punch this guy in the fucking chest as hard as you could, and he's already dying.
Well, do what you're fucking told, man.
Again, he's not gonna get any deader,
right?
I mean, there's no hurt in trying, right?
Oh, well, okay.
They have like an 8% success rate or something like that.
Yeah, well, when they teach it, or at least when I was in medic school.
They don't teach it anymore.
Well, they should. So when they teach it, it's if you witness the cardiac arrest, hit them with a precordial thump, and it should, in theory, help. In theory. It's just percussive therapy. But yeah. The expectancy of it actually doing anything is like almost 0. That is one thing I never got to try in EMS, and I kind of wish I did. I got to do a lot of wild shit, but
it was a lucky experience. I've never witnessed cardiac arrest since then. Never seen anything like that since then. It was kind of comical at the end because when the guy woke up, he's like, "Oh shit, I hope that don't happen again."
Right? Was he bitching like it felt like he got kicked in the chest by a horse?
No, he's just actually like, God, I hope he was like stuck on. I hope this doesn't happen again. Jesus, what I'm like, yeah, me either, because I'm not pushing a button next time. Someone else can fucking do it.
We had a dude with VTAC, and I had I'm just gonna call him an arrogant partner. And the guy was in VTAC, but it wasn't symptomatic. So like he was still responsive, looking around and everything like that. And like what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to do, at least when I was working, the protocols were adenosine 6-12-12. But he just decided to skip the adenosine and go straight to the cardio version without sedation, and fucking lit this guy up while he was still conscious. And the response would be just what you would expect from a dude who just took like however many joules. I can't remember. Turned it up to. Yeah, it was a scream. It was a holy fuck, don't do that again. And then it was my partner just calmly being like, but I fixed it. I'm just like, dude, that's hard. Like, I'm pretty cold-blooded sometimes, but that's fucked up.
This is something you guys may not know. Coop is a Heart Saver hero. He's been awarded it by the AHA, American Heart Association.
First off, don't put
Weren't
me on
you
blast,
too, Clark?
because Clark was too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess what they're referring to is Clark and Cooper heroically saved the
You
life.
gotta do all that.
Right in front of their eyes, a man collapsed.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Right in front of the
That's not
camera's
how it
eyes.
happened at all.
No, we got a call where you responded to it. Fun fact, that was the first time Clark ever saw somebody on that like diesel-powered piston of doom, the Lucas device.
So, for
We
future
finished the
reference
call.
of this podcast, I'm not an EMT, a medic, anything. I'm just a security guard. Like, I'm just a dude.
He's a first responder. He's an AHA. What
I
is
am
that
just
class?
Medical
a dude.
responder is what they call them.
Yeah, medical responder. He
I am
does.
just
He's
a
not
dude.
medically dumb, so don't let him fool you guys.
I am a guy who, for the very first time, saw a Lucas device going off, and I saw this man's stomach touch his spinal column. Icky.
Yeah. That's the first time you ever saw. So we caught the dude while he was still in DFib or VFib. Jesus Christ. He was still in VFib, so we were able to shock, and that's the first time you ever saw a shock too. And then that was the
Didn't
first time.
his thing end up being neurological too, or something like that?
They, to
That
this
is
day,
cardiac.
have no idea what it was.
It was something.
Oh yeah,
cardiac,
that's what it was.
But they
Dude
don't
died in a
know
parking
exactly
lot
what
for
caused
20
it.
minutes.
Probably
and
like
nobody
a
has an
like an
idea.
electrolyte imbalance or something like that.
No, there's swelling around his
All
heart.
he needed was a
but-
Gatorade.
Yeah, just needed to get rid of it.
Drink
Gatorade is
hours of
sponsored.
Gatorade.
Electrolytes, plants crave it.
Like I've heard a few different things since. I don't get Christmas cards anymore, which kind of makes me sad.
I don't.
but-
I got it for like 2 years, and that was it.
right
From
Ungrateful
him?
pricks.
From his
the
family.
family. Yeah,
Oh, 'cause
really
he
nice.
He
family.
was one of
Really
the.
nice.
Super nice.
He wasn't just an employee, correct?
Well,
He was.
yeah.
But his wife was somebody that was part of the family that owns that
No.
facility.
No.
Wasn't he? Or
his dad was
high up or something? Yeah,
his
yeah,
dad
that's
was
what it
a-
was.
Shut up. Give him a second. His dad was a VIP.
Let them explain it.
No, let me keep going down the list of what he could have been.
Nah, his like stepmom was a frog.
Yeah.
That yeah.
Yeah, his dad was a VP, but like I mean, they were a legitimate nice family. Like,
Extremely nice.
very nice family.
So
His mom cried and made me hug her son
Right? During the COVID.
during the COVID.
Right? So we're at this ceremony and we're not supposed to be like touching anybody or anything and like avoiding contact. And like this family is like, I don't fucking care about the rules. And they
Get
started
in
fucking
here.
everybody involved. And I was just like, don't get me sick.
So going back to my cardiac arrest real quick. It turns out the guy had a 95% LDA block. Yeah, it probably should have killed him.
Well,
LDA
I mean,
block.
with enough electricity, like you can fix anything.
Wouldn't that cause a stroke though if you broke out?
Right, but well, I mean, I don't know about that. But anything
Yes, it
outside of a
can.
About it
hospital
either.
like
I'm just
that,
curious.
you know,
Yeah, it can.
a 95% LDA block outside of the hospital that's not witnessed, yeah, you're probably going to die.
You
That's
should
just
have got the Heart Saver Award.
yeah, that's just how that works. I didn't get
All right.
shit except for fucking yelled at for not pushing the button fast enough.
Fucking
All right,
faster.
moving on to our next question.
Question 3 out of 42.
Seriously,
It's
God, we
taking
have
a
not
hot
made it
minute.
far. What's
Is
the
it
craziest
starting?
thing you've seen someone do?
All right, Coop.
Uh,
Uh,
I once
Well,
saw
I'm-
Hams, who's an out-of-shape smoker, chase a very fast man across the campus.
I don't smoke anymore, so let's.
After you were
start with
straight up
that.
told not to.
Yeah. I told him, hey, don't chase that guy. He's really fast. And Hams was like, I am
Not gonna
speed.
listen to you.
And he started chasing this guy full bore. And I jumped in the vehicle and just started driving towards him because, like, I'm not doing all that. And then as the guy disappears from Hams's view, I hear over the radio, he's the fastest man alive. Do you see him?
To be fair, the dude was like fucking. He's a track star, son.
He's
He's
like
track star.
17 peak agility. He was ready for this.
Yeah.
But
I was like,
Clark is also an out of shape smoker. So
I was a smoker. I've quit smoking. Been like 3
Yeah.
years now. Fight me,
Say he
nerd.
did a few years ago.
But yeah, I am also out of shape. That's why I wasn't running across the field.
that was really the craziest thing you've ever seen.
Ooh,
Get out
well,
of here.
Okay. You're a molester and that's all you'll ever be was pretty crazy. But that
Oh,
was
God.
like physically crazy.
Yeah, that was insane.
I don't even Hams, how would you go about explaining that?
Yeah. this
I
guy was
honestly
right
don't.
there.
Like, I don't know. Because, like, that's a whole.
We had a person experiencing a psychotic break.
If
It's
that's
not
what you want to
funny.
call it.
I don't know what else to call it. But we had gotten her corralled. And she's a minor. So like, boxing gloves on, super gentle, everything like that. And we're trying to get her into a safe space for her to calm down and relax so we can call people to get some sort of intervention with her. And she looks at Hams dead in the face and goes, "You're just a molester. That's all you'll ever be." And Hams, the look on his face, his eyes got like the size of softballs, and he's just, "What? What did I do?"
is this the same?
I
one
didn't do
that
anything to her. I was
looked
just
at
like
all
with
of
Clark.
us and said that security only knows how to grow beards?
Well, first off, that's a lie. You've all seen me. I cannot grow a beard.
Scoop
to
cannot
save
grow
my
a
life.
beard. Yeah, all security does is know how to grow beards, and I can't even
Do
remember what it
something else.
do something else.
Lie
But,
with them pretty blue eyes.
So she started
No,
barricading herself.
Yeah, wait a minute. You're
She
getting too
started-
far ahead of yourself.
So we put her in the isolation room, which is a room they can use to calm down in. It's got two great big windows in it, so we can just sit there and stare at them, so they're not, trying to choke themselves with phone cords or whatever. And she starts barricading the door. So I go in there and I open it up, and she starts arguing with me about how I didn't tell her she couldn't do that. And then I was like, "Look, we don't want you barricaded in here. We don't want you to hurt yourself. Just calm down. Let us get stuff going." And she's like, "You don't care if I get hurt." And I was like, "I do care if you get hurt." And she stopped what she was doing, looked at me in the eyes, and said, "All you do is lie with those blue eyes." I
And
don't know
again,
how
me
to
standing
react to
behind
these.
Clark when this happened, my eyes, I'm sure, were fucking softballs again. Because we're just standing there speechless, like,
The
I
thing
don't
she
know what's
said,
going on.
I just don't know what to do with you.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, we're not mental health professionals.
No, again, I'm
Definitely
just a
weren't there.
dude.
And this person not probably, needed mental health care, though.
I believe after that they did send her to a.
Yeah, she went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Because I remember our CSIO transported her.
Oh no. Mm-mm. It was me and one of the counselors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know they had to
The
call people in
CSI
for
will.
it.
He wasn't gonna transport shit.
He doesn't transport anybody.
Well, on another note, I seen my first amputated body part a couple months ago.
So yeah, I've been staring at the question, wondering, like, it's kind of an open question. Like, what's the craziest thing you've seen someone do? Like, actually been present while they did it, or been present
Yeah. Let's
to
go.
deal with the
No.
results
Let's go
of
with
what they've done?
president. Let's go like they did it in front of you.
mm,
Because I think there's another question later on down the list that kind of will ask the other, what's the craziest thing you've responded to?
I
Okay.
mean, there's also what has been the dumbest things someone has told you or said to
I
you.
have a really good one for that.
I figure
And
both
then,
you do.
I mean, I guess I didn't see it happen in front of me, but I walked up to on the mental health unit at the hospital I used to work at, and I'm like, what's going on? What do you need? And they're like, look. And I look in there, and this guy's standing there naked, just waving his dick around. And I'm like, okay, that's not uncommon for a mental health unit. And they're like, no, look. He's got AAA batteries inside of his dick.
Hmm.
Craziest fucking thing I ever seen in my life. I was
How
in
Yeah.
shock.
many?
How many?
How many?
There was 2.
Were they end to end like a flashlight? Like if you had screwed in a bulb?
They were. He had to have surgery to get them taken out.
Yeesh.
I
Do you
don't
think
know.
that
I think so.
connected, like, the circuit?
I don't know. I
Like,
mean, I wasn't
I'm not an
examining it that close,
electrician.
but I was like, God damn. That is a whole new meaning of whatever that term is that they call that shit.
I feel like if a potato can power a clock, like
well, like
Yeah.
I said, I'm not an electricity doctor either. So, like, I'm just sitting here going, man, if that connected the current, like, what a wild ride.
You feel
I-
that all the way down to your butthole.
So, like, court
That's a-
interrogation here. Can you define craziest? As in, like, mental health issue, or are you
No,
talking
just
anything
something that,
fucking
like,
wild?
just wild, blew your mind. Like, I cannot believe this is happening right now.
Something that is ingrained into your mind and will never not be there.
Well, like, I'm just trying to get this narrowed down because there's, like, so many different things. Like, so many different things. Because, like, we had the dude who was always, like, jacked up on K2.
I was that the big fucking black guy?
Yes. Yeah.
the streak.
Yeah, I was
Yep.
about to say, yeah, go ahead and tell us that one.
Because we got that one. We have the dude who drank clobber. It's
What the fuck is
industrial
clobber?
strength drain cleaner.
Oh my god!
96% virgin sulfuric acid.
Didn't one of you guys see some dude drink a meth lab?
Yep.
That's him.
That was Hams. Okay.
Yeah, so, like, there's just a bunch of different ones. So I didn't know if you wanted, like, wild, like, holy shit, or
Whatever
just
tickles
funny.
your pickle, you choose.
3 AA batteries.
I will say, to add to that, we used to have this guy that came into the mental health hospital that I used to work at, and he used to put highlighters down his penis.
Yeah. So, like, the batteries, honestly,
The
didn't
thin
surprise
ones,
me.
not the big thick ones.
I
I've
don't
seen
care what the size is, Hams. Like
those, like, huge box marker Sharpies. You know what I'm talking
the
about? Like,
square one.
yeah, they have, like, the aluminum fucking casing. I had a dude who ran one of those down his pee hole.
Ow.
I just think of, look, I'm not trying to be descriptive or anything, but I just think of my pee hole and I'm like, how the fuck do you even get that in there? How's that
Practice.
happen?
You have to stretch it out first. Like
It's called
finesse.
sounding.
Just enough finesse. You can fit
That is-
everything in any hole.
That is
well, it's like
but-
gauging. You got to be careful, otherwise it'll rip.
Well, it's called sounding. It's legitimately called sounding. They
Yeah, but
use
don't
metal
use sharp
rod
objects
to stretch out their urethra.
or
Mm.
batteries.
I just don't
Anyway.
get
Or batteries, I guess. Yeah.
whatever. I guess.
Get back to your story before we get too far into sounding and kinkery.
Actually, I think I'm gonna abstain from this question because, like, there's so many different things going through my brain right now, and I don't know how to narrow it down.
All right, next question then. What has been or was one of your favorite vehicles to drive while working any of the jobs you've worked?
That's not what the question says.
I changed it. Corwin was allowed to change questions. I can change questions.
Favorite. So we had this old, like, 1993 ambulance.
Baja.
Yeah, the Baja.
I knew
Beast.
that was going to be the one.
So, like, this is not entirely pre-box era, but it was like the coming of age of putting a box on the back of a fucking van. And this thing had no governor on it. It didn't have a Tadler on it. We put all-terrain vehicle tires on it. Like the muddiest mudding tires you can think of. We threw onto this fucking ambulance, and it was like our wilderness rescue vehicle. And
like fucking bogging tires.
Yes. And every time you jumped into that thing, like the exhaust was fucked up on it, so like it would rev and scream as you were like accelerating and stuff. But it was just like driving, I don't know, like a dune buggy. The handling was absolutely insane. It was an absolute riot to drive. Just as long as, nobody's on the road with you, because you were
Or
able
in
to
the back.
duck and weave and stuff like that. Yeah, don't do it with a patient in back, but yeah, you can get anywhere with that thing, and it was a blast. We ended up, I'm gonna say we lost it when we ended up having to take an interfacility transport, and this thing clearly didn't like long distance transports. Like it was good for a short time, not a long time. And when we came back into the city we were working in, like we were coming down the main strip, and one of the cops called, and they're like, dude, you guys just went past, and it's like a fucking locomotive, like one of the old steam engine locomotives just went by. You might want to get that checked out. And like we were about to like blow the transmission on this thing, trying to limp it back to the base, but yeah, we ended up losing her. It made me really sad.
Probably my favorite vehicle to drive throughout my career has been the first fire department I ever joined. We got this I think it was a Ford 350 manual.
Probably a fire truck.
It was actually a first responder vehicle.
There's a difference, Clark.
Such a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't carry firefighting equipment.
Oh, yeah, it did. It was a
This one did.
It was
all
not
the
a fire
equipment
department. I
needs.
fucking hope it did.
it was a freaking mini pumper that also had
It was a
EMS
mini pumper, yeah. But anyway, it was a manual, and it just fucking screamed. It was just sounded mean. I would drive it just to be able to hear it, because it just sounded awesome.
A
Get that nice
firefighter
little
flexing
growl.
for no reason? Nuh-uh.
Weird.
Anyway, you can go. Yeah,
Want to know how I know you're a firefighter?
let me hang on. I'll tell you.
Exactly.
And then
there was-
but I also really enjoyed driving. We had Durangos where Coop, Clark, and Corwin and I used to work. We got Durangos our last year there. And they were pretty cool to drive. They were nice vehicles.
And then they switched them out for Ford Transits.
Right.
Minivans?
They're not good. They
Are
look
you
bad.
kidding me?
No.
Nope.
And
That's
they're
what
all
they
stamped
patrol
with,
in now?
they're all stamped with the OJCC logo.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad, because ours were completely unmarked with government plates, which was the dopest shit ever.
It wasn't dope because we had those race riots, and then we had to transport some.
Yeah.
Kids.
I mean,
destined to,
they were dope sometimes.
Oh, what was Ferguson?
Customers, is that how you put it earlier, Clark? Customers. We had to
Customers.
transport some
Wow.
customers into like straight ghetto neighborhoods with nothing but Govy plates on, and it was like, man, that's sketchy. That's real sketchy.
Can I bring my plate?
Tinted out windows and everything. Oh
Yeah.
man. This is the kind of when you see in a movie like they're like that's a Fed. That's what
That's
it
a Fed,
was. That's exactly what it was.
Dude, I took a transport to one of the local cities, is what I'll say. And our boss at the time, he just straight looked at me. He's like, dude, take your vest and take your gun with you, because like you're going to a rough spot. I went, okay, like whatever. Sure enough, like we get to that area of town and I'm looking at a fucking crackhead pissing on a McDonald's sign, and it just got sketchier and sketchier as we went on. It was like, shit.
I mean, that just sounds like the town that your campus is in.
No, this
Hey,
was
now.
completely different town.
No,
I live in
But
that town.
yes, you are correct as well.
but,
That town's a shithole.
It's not that bad.
It's
You
fine
can't
as
even
long as you
sit-
know what you're
You,
doing.
you
That's
can't
called
even
coping.
stand in your kitchen and do your dishes without getting shot.
That
That's called
happened
coping.
like twice, and it was an accident.
Oh,
One of them was an accident.
Yeah.
The
They
other
were
was-
shooting a deer off their back porch, and they missed, and the round went through like 3 walls and hit this old lady in the back.
Yeah,
And she survived. That's
she survived. Wasn't she like
walked to
70
the
something
hospital.
years old?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's,
Like
that's crazy.
we're not gonna.
And
talk
it was like a 308, wasn't it? Or something
Yeah.
big like that.
Yeah, it was a large. I don't remember what it was, but it was large.
yeah, I think the description was large caliber hunting rifle, which around here
Tells
I
me
guess
it's
that
like
can be
308 or 30-06, something like
yeah,
that.
it's
Or
pretty broad
22.
around here, but
23 going through 3 walls and granny.
that's an assault pistol.
Yeah.
Um,
My
my-
favorite vehicle was probably when Hams let me drive his fire truck right before he stole my job. Do you have anything to say about
was-
that, Hams?
Was that for the controlled burn?
Yeah, the one where you almost set me on fire
And Miller
then-
almost killed all of you.
and Miller almost
because
killed
he's a
all of us.
pyro.
Whoa.
And then I got my promotion.
Yeah, because you brought the boss a fire truck to play with.
At least
that
I did
was
mine on
great.
merit. Jesus,
I
you
seen
sucked
you
your
get one.
boss's dick.
Yeah, basically. And then I got a promotion and a $1 raise.
All that for gross insubordination.
Yeah. All right.
Or
Next question.
Misuse of
Hey.
city property.
fuck you. I
Should've
didn't
been.
get a chance to.
Well, nobody cares.
my
You used to be an
favorite
IT nerd.
Uh,
It was the elevator that they get me ride.
no,
I
so
had to have a special key.
the department I was reserved for, we still had old shit. So we had old Impalas, but our training vehicle was a Crown Vic. So doing a reverse serpentine and that was sketchy as fuck.
Oh, yeah. It's
I'd
like
fuck
a
with the
boat.
Crown Vic though. That'd be cool. That'd be neat.
Nah, okay. So the dudes who defend the old Crown Vics and talk them up like they're the greatest vehicles on the planet and they're better than the new ones, like they're so full of shit, dude. Like I've
Yeah.
done the Explorers, I've done the fucking Crown Vics and stuff. And yeah, you're talking about the offensive driving course,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Off
and
that
trying to maneuver that fucking boat.
Was,
offensive sounds
was-
like you're flipping the bird.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, depending on who's running the course, it actually does get a bit offensive, but
This is a very controversial topic
it is.
because people love those fucking Crown Vics.
It is.
It
Well,
is.
I mean, they were a staple for the force, but like, it
doesn't mean that they weren't sketchy as fuck to drive.
right.
I mean, they're
Now-
fucking boats, but they do have a solid motor in them and transmission.
I don't know. It like when I started doing my shit, it was they were switching those out for Explorers, and the only thing we had a Vic for was for training and then dicking around.
Yeah, we
So-
had the Vic for training, and then we had Impalas on the city side, and that was
I remember Impalas.
not as sketchy, but still pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
What about Caprices? Did anybody ever drive a Caprice?
No.
Negative.
No.
Yeah, we didn't really see many Caprices in Iowa, weirdly.
But the only thing that was sketchier than the Crown Vic is we got a surplus DoD Humvee with a hardtop
Oh, I'm
back,
sorry.
and that I drove that. No, never, ever again. That was.
How fucked up were the door hinges? That
We
bad?
had yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay.
It was that bad.
Uh,
Super. mm.
So the reason, if I don't know if I should even explain it, if anybody even cares, the reason those are all fucked up is because when we up armored everything, like the hinges were not designed for what we were doing, and when you put
Couldn't handle that
armor on that,
weight.
yeah, that was a lot of fucking weight to put on those doors. And then
They
like,
actually made an aftermarket part sometime later because of
Yeah.
that.
yeah, eventually, when the up armor program got in full force, they were putting out kits to help. But initially, like when we really needed it off the start, like they didn't have that, and just military personnel are already rough with shit, and then you get something and you put that much stress on it, like fucking them up constantly. So
So
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I've
sorry
seen
you got that.
photos and stuff of them using like fucking bungee strap in their doors or using the toe strap, having the one end attached to the driver's and the other attached to the passenger because they both fucking sucked.
Totally
And,
defeating the purpose of up armoring that vehicle.
Well, no, they would strap them closed.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's not going to stop an IED, Hams.
Well, I mean,
Well, depending on the size of the ID, I guess.
You know what I never understood is
mean-
why some and this is way off topic, but why
It's
some
way
of
off
those
topic.
some they sent over Humvees and they upfitted them and then they just left some with no doors or anything. Like, yeah, because I want to drive the one with no fucking protection.
Well, like okay, so if I'm on like
got a
FOB
canvas
or
on
something
it.
like that, I don't really give a shit, and I
In and
want
out.
that open door, like
It's already an
to help.
inconvenience. You have to wear your
I
seatbelt.
get that. Yeah, I totally get that. But like seeing them drive out on missions and shit, it's like, no
Well,
thanks.
if you want to get out fast, I mean, like
I
there's
mean, I guess
certain,
they do call it the tomb.
yeah, there's certain reasons on.
I mean,
why you
maybe the
wouldn't,
hope
but-
is like if the IED goes off, it'll blow you out of the Humvee instead of being like,
Yeah, like
fucking
drunk
sardine
drivers
can that
surviving
blows up.
car crashes.
right.
Yeah, I mean,
If there's
you never
less
know.
resistance, I'll survive.
30
Okay.
yards away from the wreck.
Well, I mean, like
Only
we
And Dan, you ain't got no legs.
we had a car accident, like 4 months ago where the girl got ejected and thrown like fucking probably 25 yards. But if she'd
Oh,
been
it was
in the
an
car,
easy
she was
40,
she was
50
fucking
yards.
dead. If she'd stayed in the car, she'd have been dead because the car was fully involved.
Yeah. I don't know. That argument comes up a lot. Is if they were ejected or not, or if they were wearing their seatbelt or not, would they have survived? And I always thought it was a stupid.
Well, I
argument,
mean, she definitely
I-
would have been dead. The car was fully engulfed, and fucking burned out.
I mean, I agree with you. That it is a stupid argument because, I mean, what do you want us to do? Do you like, hey, can we try that again, but this time with your seatbelt on?
yeah. Like you're not going to
Like,
get.
how do you like? You're never going to get the same scenario exactly the same to be able to argue anything of importance to make it one of those more legitimate than the other.
I mean, I think what he's saying is fire is pretty self-explanatory.
No, like I understand that part, but I think Coop and I are referring to like when someone's ejected and killed or ejected and survive. Like eliminate the fire part of it. Like there's just no way to ever tell, which one's better or worse.
Yeah, because
How many car accidents have you seen where your patient had a pelvis fracture?
I was in EMS for like 10 years, dude, full time. I couldn't count. I could not count.
So okay, so where I was going with that is I had one where the lady died from the pelvis fracture. She obviously fucking severed the artery that was in there, bled
Mhm.
out. The trauma surgeon, though, at the hospital was like, "Oh, yep, that's a seatbelt to cause that. Seatbelt killed her." This guy was a firm believer that seatbelts and pelvic fractures were correlated to the injury, or I don't know how he put it exactly.
Seatbelts were the cause of the fatality.
Yeah, I mean, he just anytime they had a pelvic fracture and their seatbelt on, that combination was just deadly.
I mean,
All
if
right.
only she had been killed by the windshield.
Right? Or the fucking steering wheel.
Again,
Hey,
it's
I'm
just
just
one of
saying.
those.
There's just so many different.
All right, so
views.
this is my honest question to you. That surgeon, did he happen to be an alcoholic?
I mean, most of them are, aren't they?
Right?
See, that's not fair because, like I said, alcoholics survive car accidents. It's what they're built to do.
Yeah. They say it's because they're limp when they get launched from the vehicle.
Yeah, it's the same like if they say people that are sleeping have a higher likelihood of surviving too.
Yeah, because you're not bracing for impact and your
You don't
body's
know it's
doing
coming.
its natural absorption thing.
Because if you're more tensed up, then I guess your bones and shit break easier.
Your bones and shit.
I
Your
don't.
bones and shit.
If you get shooken violent enough, your shit might break loose too.
Maybe.
And if you die, for sure.
In a room full of medical professionals, this is bones and shit. Okay.
Bones and shit.
So,
All right. Anyway, moving on to the next question.
what is one of the dumbest things someone has told you or said to you?
It's either on fire or it's not.
God damn it! Shut
No,
up.
that's wise. That's wisdom.
So,
That's sagely advised.
my bad. Sorry, that was prophetic.
That was prophetic. It's either on fire or it's not, was one of the greatest things a coworker has ever said to me. I try to live my life by that mentality, you know? It really helps me get through day to day.
Yeah, does it?
It does. I mean, if you think about it, everything's either on fire or it's not. Oh, you got a bill to pay? Well, it's either on fire or it's not. Oh, I got this weird growth on my leg? Well, it's either on fire or it's not. My heart's been having weird palpitations. It's either on fire or it's not.
It's called heartburn, sir.
Nah.
This is something that I stupidly said many years ago that has stuck with me.
And it will never go away. I'm putting it on your tombstone. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
if I outlive you, I will hand carve that shit on the back of it if I have to.
We went into a room and we were looking at a battery pack for our fire suppressant system. And it's like a backup in case the power goes out. And it was smoking. And we thought, well, we'll get the firefighter to come and take a look. So Hams is looking at it and he says the most prophetic thing ever. Well, it's either on fire or it's not. Turns out
As he's
it
staring
wasn't.
at it. As he's staring at it.
As he's staring at it.
Was I wrong?
You're not
No.
wrong. Again, those are the most prophetic words I've ever heard anybody say.
But you weren't right.
I
But I
live
wasn't
my
wrong.
life by those tenets.
I can honestly remember that like it was yesterday. That is just one of those stupidest moments that I have ever had that has stuck with me.
The same customer that Hams chased through a field.
Ah.
Um,
I know it's coming.
I had him come to the welcome center and asked to speak with me privately. And I was like, all right, whatever. So
It's coming too. I remember now.
So we go into the isolation room, and I'm like, what's up, man? I figured, he was here to tell me something had happened or something like that, or give me some good news. Sometimes they have good news to share with you. And I just remember he had tears in his eyes, and he looked really sad. He said, Mr. Clark, I tore my penis. And I said, what? and he said, I tore my penis trying to have relations with my girlfriend. And I said, what do you want me to do about it? Go to the nurses. And he's like, I'm too afraid to go to the nurses. What will they think? And I'm like, what will I think?
He had trust in you, though.
He's like, is there anything you
Wasn't the
can
second
do?
time he was like, I ripped my dick?
Yeah. Yeah, he
There's
started
some point or
screaming that.
something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I ripped it. There's just nothing I could do. And he kept asking you, what are they gonna do? And I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do. I've never had this problem before. I don't.
Like I said, he trusted you. Like you had a good rapport with him, so like
That's a whole new term to 50
He
Shades of
literally
Grey.
did. He did break his dick, though, if I remember correctly.
yeah, he did.
Yeah, he legitimately like
He
broke
didn't-
his dick.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know how it
Had to be like
happened.
wrapped or cat. How do they do that, Coop?
I don't,
Is it just
I don't
wrapped?
think
Do
it's
they
a
wrap it?
cast.
Because it's not erect the whole time that it's healing. Because if you get erect, it's bad.
Hey, Google it, Hams.
I'm
Google
not
fractured
Googling it.
penises.
No.
So from what I understand, speaking with one of the nurses later on, he didn't rupture any major vessels. Fortunately, they did have to do stitching, so it was surgical. But yeah, they
Yes,
stitched
that
it
was why you can't get erect
Can I-
because of the
and
stitching.
then wrap it.
Did anybody ask what he was doing that led to this?
I'm gonna
Well,
be
he was
honest with you.
trying to
I
fuck his
was
girlfriend. Duh.
I was trying to get out of that room as quickly as possible with this customer
I mean,
talking to
maybe
me
not at the time, but doesn't it now like pique your curiosity at all?
about
No.
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 So at the facility we were at, the customers were not allowed to interact with each other in that way. So God, that sounds like a strip club.
Yeah, it does.
My curiosity is like, were they like fucking slamming in a door or something? What
Well,
the fuck
that's
were they
what
doing?
I'm saying is they were in a hurry to get the deed done. So I'm assuming
And like
speed
fell out
was
of
an
bed on a
issue.
fucking book or something, or what?
They
you
were
know?
outside. I guarantee you they were outside, probably behind a dumpster.
100% behind the dumpsters.
We don't
Like the
want it to be
dumpster lid
true,
blew over and smacked it or something.
but it
or-
is true. I'm
Nah,
assuming he smacked it on her pelvis.
it's just one of those things, like, you've witnessed them doing so many gross acts that when something like this comes up, you just don't think about it because you don't want to know. Like,
Yeah, it's just gonna
Yeah.
disappoint you.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
No matter what. No matter what it is, it's going to disappoint you.
And probably gross you out a little bit. And
yeah,
no matter how
And
fucked up your
that's-
life is, you're just like, at least I didn't do that.
You guys had different experience because, like, the experiences I had that involved sexual intercourse like that, as far as EMS goes, they were ones where I was just trying so hard not to laugh. Like the guy in, Jake was on this call, that was like 80 years old and fucking was having a heart attack while cheating on a neighbor.
Yeah.
No, she was
actually,
cheating on her
told me
husband.
about that, yeah.
I will say this: when he told me that he had tore his penis, I laughed in his face because I thought he was
As
joking. I
rightfully
felt
so.
so bad.
I
When
mean,
he like had
you're kinda-
physical tears running down his eyes.
I think
I
you're
was like, "Oh my
expected
God,
to in
he's
that
serious."
situation.
Just to move on. Dumbest thing. It would be anything anybody in emergency services has ever fucking heard. And it is such a general statement. You can't isolate it to just one person, but I saw it in a movie or I saw it on a show once.
The ice packs.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Showed up on a call. Well, actually, it was we had a bad batch of heroin come through our area. And we had a lot of ODs going on. And during this course of, I'm going to say like double digit ODs on just heroin in this area, at least a handful of people were doing weird things that they had seen in some movie or a show to try and counteract the overdose. The first one I showed up to, we were sitting there getting ready to start pushing Narcan on the guy, starting an IV and everything like that. And the cop stops and then fucking goes, "Well, that looks weird." And he like moves his pants and he pulls out this big old frozen steak that his buddy had shoved down his pants to put on his dick. And he looked at me like I was supposed to know what the fuck he was doing. And I just Man, I don't know. Go talk to him. Go ask him why that was there. And apparently he had seen it on a show or something like that. And I don't know if they're banking for like induced hypothermia to slow down damage or what, but different patient. It was a chick who OD'd, and her boyfriend shoved frozen peas and vegetables up her hoo-ha.
Did those two watch the same show?
Yeah, he had to have, because when we got an explanation from him on why the fuck those are falling out, he
Loose
said he had
peas,
seen
by
it in
the
the
way.
show.
Loose peas, not the
Loose
whole
peas.
bag. Loose
Hey,
peas.
and yeah, and I'm not talking like a bag of fresh frozen mixed vegetables. I'm saying pulled it out of a frozen dinner and grabbed it and shoved it in there.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So we just shot him in there like flipping quarters.
Didn't
I
you
don't know.
also have the guy? Was it you that had the guy that wrapped a lamp cord around his arm to stop the meth?
No, I had a guy who died while I'm gonna call it pleasuring himself with a lamp. And the lamp melted to his cock.
Oh my god.
Wait, what? Huh?
Fucking what?
Hey,
How
I don't.
was he doing it?
I'm assuming he was one of those people who like pain as a stimulation, and
You
So
don't
he was just
say.
like sticking it on there.
he was using the heat from the bulb, and went into
Oh.
cardiac arrest while he was doing it, while the lamp was on and in the area,
Ain't that a motherfucker?
and it had
One
sat
of
there
those, like,
long enough.
80-watt bulbs that get like hotter than the sun.
I don't know. I didn't evaluate it that deeply. Like,
Did you check? Did you check if he got to get off before it
Completion.
happened?
He did not. He did not.
Oh man, what a kick in the nuts!
Fucking bummer.
And then we also, at that time, we were doing confirmation for hospice care. So if somebody's on hospice care out of hospital, like, we would have to go verify that the patient was in fact dead, And we got called to this one house. How did this get into sex talk again?
I have no idea.
So we got called to this hospice care, and this dude's entire fucking family was there and had been in the room to visit with him because he had passed away and everything like that. And then they told us to go ahead and go in. And yeah, we went in, and this dude's in his bed with his dick in his hands. And it's like,
That's how I
nobody in
wanna
the
go.
family. Nobody in the family covered that up or like moved his hands or anything.
Were they even
Like,
acknowledging it?
nope. Talked to us with a straight face. I walked
You
in, I
acknowledge
looked at
it's
it.
real.
I
Like,
looked
I
at
would
it.
not. I'd have been like, "Sorry about this, guys. He's
Yeah. So I walked in, I looked at it, I looked at my fucking partner and went, I'm fucking done. This is yours. And I walked back out to the ambulance because I wasn't dealing with that.
That is absolutely like I wouldn't have been able to hold a straight face. I would have lost it.
Yeah. Well, at that time, I had been running for like 40 something hours straight, and I was just tired and ready to fist fight a puppy. Like, I just wasn't in a good mood. So, yeah.
All right.
All right.
The next question is what drives you to stay in the field that you're in right now?
That's not
Nothing.
the next question.
Yeah, it
That
is.
is the next question.
Oh, it is.
6 comes after 5, bud.
God, we've got to get moving along.
Sure do. I don't like that
Comfortability.
question.
I know it.
Nothing. I'm lazy. That's it.
I
Good
think
answer. Good answer.
My
Next
answer.
question.
That's getting cut.
you know,
I guarantee you he's cutting that.
Well, here I'll give you an answer that's good enough. It's just too late to start over. Too fucking late to start over. I'm already this
Never
far
too late.
invested.
Yeah, it's never too late.
I don't know, man.
I just don't like sitting down at a desk.
It is neat sometimes seeing the weird shit that happens.
I do not have any other skill sets that would translate me to a normal job.
That's fair.
You're not normal.
Fuck you, you're not normal.
No shit. That's why we're all in the field that we're in.
It's because you're Mormon.
Yeah.
No, I took that test. Obviously, I am neutral on it.
Okay, enough of that. Next question.
Can I read this one? Can I be involved?
Sure.
Yes.
How about it?
No, I have dyslexia. I'll mess it up. You read it.
Have you ever been in an accident with an emergency vehicle or a vehicle that you were given to drive for work? We'll kind of elaborate on that because not all vehicles we have driven were emergency vehicles.
Sure have. Sure have.
Yep, I have too.
Best answer.
Honestly, so you asked earlier, what was my favorite vehicle to drive? And I was like, can we or not elaborate, but add on to that? What was the one we hated being inside? And that was the vehicle I actually got in a pretty decent accident with. And it's Sprinters. As far as interfacility transport,
Hold
Sprinters.
are you going to explain what it is?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So the Sprinter is the straight up van type ambulance. It's the one that doesn't have a box on it or anything like that. It's like a hauling van is what it is. It's got a very narrow wheelbase. It's very fucking top heavy. There's no room to work in the back. I get it. Europe and some major cities use them because they have narrow streets and stuff like that. But if you're working like county or rural EMS, like they're absolutely terrible, or at least that's my opinion. And I know I'll probably piss people off with that opinion.
No, they have no business working in a rural area. They just
I've been in so many different types of trucks, and that was by far the worst for responding in rural areas. But basically, it was a mixture between the vehicle was a piece of shit and the weather and really shitty administration for the service I was working for. And we ended up, it rained for probably an hour. And so the road was all wet and stuff. And then it started snowing immediately afterwards. And fortunately, we had gotten our patient to the hospital and got her transferred over and everything like that. And it was on our way back to the base that we hit an ice spot, started to slow down because we fishtailed a little bit. And then we hit another ice spot and we straight rolled that fucking ambulance. And then, yeah, I'm not going to go into the rest of that story. But yeah, fortunately, me and my partner were both okay. But yeah, that ambulance was not. And it shouldn't have been.
I have been in 2 accidents with emergency vehicles.
How many did you cause?
One I caused, one I did not.
There you go.
My first one ever was a fire truck. I had never driven a truck loaded with water. And we got a very exciting call that I was excited to go on. So I put the pedal to the metal and hit a fucking power pole head on.
What the fuck?
And completely
it's a fire.
and completely V'd the front the truck. I went unconscious. I don't remember any of it. I was okay. I just went unconscious for some. I imagine I hit my head.
That's what.
Yeah. So that was my first accident. There's a little more to it. I was driving on concrete, and the road changed from concrete to gravel. And like I said, it was loaded with water. And I went to turn right where it changes at from concrete to gravel, and there was gravel all over the concrete. And I went to turn at admittedly too high rate of a speed. And the truck just kept going straight, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good." I tried hitting the brakes, and nothing happened, and that's the last thing I remember. And then I woke up, and there was a pole laying on the truck. And I remember I was soaking wet from the water coming in, splashing in through the window. Yeah, and so that was my first one. My second one was we just got a new public safety pickup truck, and I was driving it in Des Moines. I'd actually just left the hospital at the start of my shift, and I was sitting at some red light, or no, I pulled down the hill to the lights were red. I pulled down the hill and I see this car that's sitting at the red lights, and the reverse lights come on, and I'm like, "Well, this ain't good," So I stopped in the middle of the road, and they just full fucking throttle reverse like a rocket towards me. So I put the truck in reverse, and I started going back too, but I ran out of road eventually, and I stopped, and boy, were they still coming, and they just fucking slammed into me. Turns out the kid was high as shit, absolutely high.
He was seeking help, and you
he
were
was
running away from him.
he was riggedy wrecked. And yeah, so he smashed into me, and obviously that wasn't my fault, but yeah, that's two vehicles I've been in accidents with. So there's a question coming up that's what's your most oh shit moment? That involves a vehicle that I almost wrecked.
Foreshadowing. Thank you.
Foreshadowing, yes. You're welcome.
Buddy of mine smoked a fucking cop car.
My brother rear-ended a cop car.
Yeah, our older brother just fucking smashed into the back of one.
Didn't hit the
Emergency
brakes or nothing. A police car.
No, was he in an emergency vehicle when he did?
Oh, no.
That just makes it no fun. I always find it fucking hilarious when supporting services smack into a cop car. Like, it's my favorite thing ever. The ambulances, they're like the Ford Super Duties,
Yeah.
and how they tend to be huge ambulances, like just big old beasts of an ambulance. It is on those, or in one of those, and they were going down a hill, and it just snowed, and the cops, parked like cops do when they pull up to a scene, and as they're
Where
coming down the
everyone
hill-
else needs to park, but they think they
Yes.
got to park there instead.
Yes. I wasn't gonna shit on them because I've been in the same spot, but yes. And they could not get the traction for the stop on the hill, and it was just like watching a train smack into a car in slow motion, and it was fucking hilarious because we were standing about 10 feet from it, and I was talking to the officer at the time, and you just watched as it slowly starts lumbering towards his vehicle, and he goes, "That's not going to hit it, right?" I go, "I don't know." And I hadn't even finished, "I don't know." And he slammed into the back, and now we're just, it was like a fucking movie. We were just standing there watching them both slide past us, and he just goes, "Huh." That was his only response was, "Huh." Well, I mean, we're going to see if you're going to say, "Huh," when you're talking to the chief later on.
All right, everyone, this is going
Right
to
on
be...
time.
Can't do anything.
No,
Can't take anything serious.
you can't bring us anywhere.
All right, everyone, this is going to be
I
a
had to
two-part.
pee for the last 20 minutes of this.
I got a
We need
question
to
for you.
hurry up.
We're just
I got
trying
a
to do
question
it.
for you, Hams.
Just trying to
Have
do
you
it.
ever considered, and hear me out, pre-recording your intro
Yeah,
and
And outro?
pre-recording your outro?
absolutely. But I like
Well,
doing them.
those
I
people-
feel like it gives it more when you do it, here and now. Plus, I have to do our training tip and our gear review.
I still really have to pee.
So I'm going to get to that outro so Clark can go pee. So thanks everyone for listening to this episode of Beyond the Barrier. This is going to be a 2-part episode because it's really long.
Like, how bad do you have to pee, Clark?
I'm pretty sure it picked up me saying I have to tinkle on the first part of that outro.
Well, that's fine. I'm just going to leave all this in.
That's fine.
That's
It's
fine.
against the rules.
So this
Need a
this
clean
week's
cut outro.
oh my goodness.
This week's training tip, because in
Like,
first
can we
responder
leave?
stuff,
I don't think anybody should interrupt Corwin. I think that's a hate crime because he's Mormon.
that it is a hate crime.
So this episode's
Coop's
training
a
tip
marginalized
is-
individual.
Oh my goodness.
I
It is like-
forgot.
Children.
I am marginalized, so
He's a
This is why-
marginalized individual.
I can do whatever I want now.
Who can you explain that a little bit for us?
I cannot. Clark
he
can.
cannot.
I have to explain it.
Please explain this.
Oh boy, what was it? In the gay community,
Oh God, shut up.
all scrawny men
He's a
are
twink.
described as twinks.
Yeah, we're all
So-
represented as twinks. I say
so-
we. I'm not even in the gay community, but like,
So, a strong, masculine, bear type male who just so happens to be slender and I don't know,
Every bit of this is
twink-like,
getting cut out.
twink-like is
Every bit of it.
underrepresented. He's underrepresented in the gay community.
and I am offended.
That you would cut his representation out.
Right?
Yeah, we're finally bringing
Awareness.
focus and awareness to this conundrum and this.
It's a devastating problem in society, honestly.
It is.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it really is. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond the Barrier. This will be a 2-part series.
Didn't you already say all this?
And
I
why
did,
is
but I'm just
so
reaffirming it. I'm
Okay.
just reaffirming
fast?
it.
Why are you saying it so fast?
It's like
Uh,
you don't want us to speak anymore.
Oh my God.
Anyway,
This
go ahead.
episode's training tip is check out the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. They have a lot of free trainings and you can get CEs there. This episode's
It's a
gear
CE.
review. It's continuing education for you uncultured ones.
Thank you.
This episode's gear review is go check out the ASP Ultra handcuffs. I use them for
Ease etiquette.
many years. They were great for me. Some people like them, some people don't. You know, they're decent. If you'd like to check out more, you can.
Caucasian elephants.
Yes, indeed. Check us out on Spotify, YouTube, and consider.
Chinese entertainment.
That's all we got for you guys this episode of Beyond the Barrier. We will catch you on the next episode with these fools.
And that's a wrap for another episode of Beyond the Barrier. We hope you enjoyed diving deep into the world of public safety, fire, law enforcement, EMS, and security with us. Your trusty hosts, Jake, Joe, and Corwin. If you liked what you heard, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to follow us on social media for even more exclusive content and behind-the-scenes look at our guests and topics. But for now, it's time to put down the walkie-talkies and hang up the handcuffs. We'll catch you next time on Beyond the Barrier, where we'll continue to break down barriers and explore the exciting world of first responders and security professionals. Stay safe out there.